Hey guys, it's Grace and welcome back to another video. This week I'm going to be doing a video that is more focused on theater kinds of things. So if you are an aspiring actor or you are a high schooler or a middle schooler who's trying to better your acting skills and all that kind of stuff, this might be the video for you. This is really just like the basics of acting and the method that I have learned and that kind of works for me. Obviously, same stuff is going to work for everyone. If you are really interested in theater, I would recommend looking at multiple different people and multiple different methods and taking what you like out of each method and using that and mixing and matching, because that's what being an actor is all about. So today I'm just going to be talking about more of Stanislavski's version of acting. So if you don't know who Stanislavski is, he is one of the teachers that we kind of hold up as one of the main teachers of acting and creating the method, as a lot of people like to call it. Not to be confused with method acting, that is a different thing that Stanislavski kind of gets mixed up and being known for, but that is not what I'm talking about today. Anyway, I'm just going to be talking about a lot of the basic terms that you might use or might see in acting. If you are confused, if you have auditioned for your first show and you don't really know what to expect, or if you had your first rehearsal ever and they're talking about some things that you don't really understand, hopefully this will help you out. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is objective. This is one of the most important things as an actor, is your objective. So let's just talk about this within the frame of a scene for right now, or a monologue, whatever you may be working on. So I have my handy dandy little notebook here that I'm going to read off of. But basically your objective is what your character wants in a scene. So some important things to be thinking about: this has to be related to another person. Whether you're doing a monologue to the audience, or you are in a scene with another person, or your monologue is about another person, you are always trying to get something from someone else. And when you think about life as well, we're always trying to get something from someone else. Even if we may not phrase it in that way directly, we always are communicating with other people. We are always trying to reach out and grab new things from other people. So that's really important to think about in acting as well. So the way you phrase these is to and then blank, whatever your character would like to do. So to confess, to get another character to confess, to crush another character, to push, to destroy, to love, to hold, that kind of stuff is what an objective for the whole scene would be. And then your tactic, which is a physical action. Let me say that again. Physical action. That is how you get what you want, in the different ways that you go about trying to get what you want from the other person. So something that's really important in acting, and that a lot of green new actors, including myself, slip into, is focusing on emotion rather than the physical aspects of acting. So when you think about acting and when you think about people, and you think about emotions, we experience emotions physically. So, you know, someone does something, you twist yourself a certain way, blah, 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 you're gonna feel a certain emotion. You always have a visceral body experience when you have an emotion, whether that is super outward and physical or not. You're always going to feel it in your body. So you want to make sure that when you're acting, to recreate that emotional experience, you use your body first, and then the emotion comes naturally afterwards. So there's actually research about this kind of stuff, about specifically like smiling. So the facial muscles that you use when you're smiling, if you actually smile and you start to think about it, you start to be happier. Same thing with laughing. You know, if you do a fake laugh at first and then you start laughing at yourself because you're ridiculous and you look stupid. A lot of these are like used in acting, basic acting classes, as a technique to get you to recognize that, but that's something that is super important, and you do that through your tactic. So an action could be to beckon. Again, it's very similar to objective, but it's just the different tactics that you use. You want your scene partner to confess to the wrongdoing that they've done. So you might poke at them and prod at them and make fun of them, and then that doesn't work. So you beg them to confess. You get on your hands and knees and you physically shake them to get them to confess. That kind of stuff is more of the tactic, and that changes a lot quicker, whereas the objective overarches throughout a scene. The tactic change can also be referred to as a beat change. Different beats where your character decides that they are going to change the tactic that they're using, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of another word that might be used or you might hear. Sorry about that, my battery died. Next thing is given circumstances. Given circumstances are the environmental and situational conditions of the play. So what that means is time period. Time period is super important, especially with the cultural context and the socioeconomic context of things. People in the 50s acted very differently in relationships. Women were treated very differently. So that's going to affect how a scene or a monologue would play out. History, again with that, like what has happened before this, what has happened and led up to this, all that kind of stuff. The place and location of where you are, also super important. If you have a play that's taking place in Ireland, the culture is going to be very different than America. Way of life and the social constructs. So again, as I was saying, like 1950s has very different social expectations than we do today. So how does that kind of affect what goes on in the play, how you would act, what is treated as normal, what is treated as odd, all that kind of stuff is super important to be able to understand. And then what do people say in the play? What do they say about the past? What do they say about the present? What do they do in the play? Just like what is happening on the page that you are aware of. So again, talking more as a play as a whole, super objective is just what your character wants in the context of the entire play. So you can imagine the super objective being the big umbrella, so that's your whole objective for this whole play, which is what you are playing into the whole time, what you want. So you could say in real life that would be compared to like your goals for the year, your goals for what you want to do. So my goal this semester is to make a lot of money, and these are all the ways that I'm going to do it in my different objectives of how I get there, that kind of stuff. And then your objective in your scenes is kind of underneath that, so each different scene has an objective. They might be the same overarching scenes, it just depends on your character and all that kind of stuff. And then your tactics and your actions are below all of that, so it's kind of a umbrella pyramid thing. So I'll just leave you with some questions to keep in mind when you are, analyzing your characters, starting to figure out what's happening, and things that you should be keeping in mind as an actor. So who is your character? How old are you? What is your hair color? What is your ethnicity? What do you look like? All that kind of stuff. What is your history? Who's your family? All that kind of stuff. Why are you here at this place at this time? You can use that in whatever scene that you're doing. What are you doing in your scene to others, to yourself? What's happening in the scene? Where are you in life? Physically, spiritually, where you at? How you feeling? All that kind of stuff. When do you change? When do you use your tactics? When you change your tactics? And how do you get the things that you want? I hope that was helpful if you are starting out as an actor, if you're interested in acting, you don't really understand how everything works, or you're confused about some specific terms that you may have come across. If you guys have any other questions about this kind of stuff, you can leave them below in the comments, and also feel free to comment any other things that I may have missed that you may want to add on, or kind of how your process works. This is more of how I kind of start my process when I'm trying to analyze my character, and this is mostly how I worked on my character that I'm working on right now. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below for more. You can check out my previous video on this side of the screen and my previous vlog on that side of the screen. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will be linking below a list of acting verbs that are active, have actions, that you can use for tactics or objectives and all that kind of stuff. I'll be linking that down below. See you in my next video. Bye.